Okay, I'm going to call to order our 7:30 hearing on the application of Aidan Foley, dated March 30th, 2016, for a variance on his home on 16 Woodside Drive in Milton. This is a continued hearing from April 28th, 2016, requesting a building that, we are now looking at a somewhat different submission than we had on the last time. The current submission is not above 35 feet above grade, which was requested the last time, as 35 feet being the height limit on houses in Milton under the bylaw. The new submission, dated May 19th, 2016, is for plans that only come to 29 feet and 3 inches, so we do not need to deal with a variance on the height. However, we do still have to deal with a variance on the third floor of the building. We are endeavoring to make this a 2.5-story building as opposed to a 3.5-story building, which had been submitted before. A 2.5-story building has 2 floors that are of a certain square footage, and the half-story is defined to be 2/3 of the area directly below it, measured at a point where there would be 4-foot partial walls. So the applicants are back here and are going to explain a little bit more about what their proposal is, and then we'll be talking a little bit more about it. Over to you.
All right. So as you look at the new proposed drawings now, everything that is not in yellow is actually within the regulations of the town. So we've now reduced it to the square footage, which is now less than 2/3 of the square footage of the floor below it. And as noted, the height of the new building is now, almost 6 feet below the height regulations. So this time, what I'm asking for as the variance is to attach 2 false dormers on the outside as fake gables to mimic the gable that's already on the new addition that we had built, to basically, to continue the same architectural look to the exterior of the home. And
the square footage of your home that we're looking at is, I understand, 28 by 60, is that correct?
Correct. And
the square footage that would be allowed without a variance then would be 1019.0 or 1018.88.
Yeah, 1,100 and
that would be
19.
2/3.
Correct.
And the square footage of this plan is, let's see, we had 1,100 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
So we are 79 square feet above the guides of the bylaw. So
we're actually below.
Below?
Yes, I'm less. I'm allowed 1,680. Was that the exact number?
1680 is 28.
Yep. Sorry, 1,680 was the actual floor below it. The allowance was
2/3 of that.
like 1,119. We are now at 1,080.
It's 1,000. Wait a minute.
1080.
I have 1108.
1108.
1680 times 0.66. Is that right?
Say that again.
1680 times 0.66
is
1108.
1108. Okay, I had the wrong number. 1108. So what we have is on the 18 by 60 being 1080. And then we had a 20 square foot area between the two gables that we add in, which brings it to 1,100, which is under. So strictly speaking, then, we don't even need to have a variance on this.
Correct, no, yes, on what's not yellow, we no longer need a variance. I was able to take everything down and reduce it to get in within
So, but,
regulations.
so I guess I'm not quite understanding it then. The yellow part,
Is what I'm asking for.
Because you just said something that sounded contradictory. You said, as proposed, you don't need relief.
As proposed, I don't need relief on everything that's in gray, that's in pencil.
Vis-a-vis the total height.
Yes.
So what,
On-
I guess the question is,
yeah.
what's exactly before us? Which piece do you need zoning relief for?
Just the yellow part, the
Because-
yellow
Yep.
gable,
Because,
for architectural reasons, for.
no, I know why you need it.
Aesthetics.
How is it violative of the existing bylaws that you would need a variance?
I guess because according to Joe, like, once you add that piece even on the outside, even if it's not accessible, the height comes into the calculation, so the square footage gets added.
so, okay, so I guess we should look at the page,
So you no longer like the 4-foot the 4-foot rule
Yeah.
that's inside, that 4-foot line now gets pushed out to the
okay,
exterior.
okay, gotcha.
So even though it's not accessible, it gets calculated as,
What is that square
Living.
footage? that you're at?
So, do we know,
if I were to add that, it is 5 by 30, which is 150, and 5 by 22.
Because it's two dorms, right?
Exactly, one on each side.
150, 5 by 22,
so that's 260 over?
110, 260. Gets added to the 1080, to the 1080, right? That puts you over, yeah.
Actually, it would be, because we have another 20 in this section here,
1360, correct? Am I off?
1360, yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
which would be, Steve, could you do the calculation of what percent 1360 is of 1680? Thank you for bringing your calculator.
1360 of 1580.
1360 of 1680, right?
Oops, 1680. Times. It's gonna be high, right? It's gonna be 880.
I'm hoping it's not too far above 66, or 0.66.
1360? All right, I think we're close to about 81%.
It's gonna be higher than that. It's gonna be 1680,
81%. Yeah, 81%.
81. Yeah,
81% puts me at 1360.8.
Okay. Well, it's a fuzzy area. What do my colleagues think of? How far we're moving from the 66% and,
and we're only talking about two false dormers to the rear of the,
Two
This is
false
in the
dormers on the
front.
front, which if you see the picture there, you drove by the house, you see the photograph, that's actually the gable that's on the garage.
So it would be,
So I actually want to mimic those two gables on the front of the house, which are just built on top
so
of the
looking
roof.
like this. This is a real functional dormer. This is,
And so it's over here somewhere?
Correct.
Okay.
Because this is the addition I'm looking at, right?
That's the side of the addition.
That's already built.
I wish we had a
Oh,
picture of
Yeah, we do.
the front. Yeah, we need, I'd like to see.
oh. And 3.
So show me where it would be.
So the shed dormer is going to sit right here in the middle, right over, because the existing staircase is right in the front entrance right here. So the fake dormer, like I said, once we raise the roof, essentially we're doing a straight A-frame off the front, and we just frame right over here. And frame right over here.
And it's
That's 2 fake attached gables.
really purely decorative.
It's completely architectural.
Okay. I'm trying to find the bylaws that refers to these calculations, and I'm wondering if it's qualified in any way or limited to usable living space. To the
Well,
extent you stay within the total height, something about this is perplexing, right? So, take a step back. We're here because the finding was that he was in violation of 5A1. On appeal, that's what we're limited to look at, right? The 5A1 says you got to be at the lesser of 2.5 stories or 35 feet. This is the part I'm confused about. This chart seems to indicate that the total height of the building is 29.3.
Correct.
So it's not the 35 feet. Now, we're here because we think this additional space will convert this to a 3.5-story building.
The dormer.
Right.
I guess because according to Joe, even though it's not accessible, once you overframe it even outside, it moves that imaginary, 4-foot line that's now on the new rafter
Right.
out to the outside.
So
So-
that's a
kind
question
of
I wanted to ask you. You've since spoken to Mr. Product, and he still believes you need a variance because, as proposed here, this would be deemed to be a story.
The yellow part would make it.
Okay.
A
Okay,
new
that
denial
helps.
letter would
Thank you.
Maybe been helpful.
it would have been really helpful, yeah,
What is it?
yeah.
A new denial letter
Yeah.
telling us exactly what is.
Yeah, no, I
needed.
said that to me. He's like, I won't have time to write you up a new letter. So I was like, oh, great, thanks, Joe.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he's like, I don't have time to write you up a new one.
Oh, dear.
So that's what he said, you are perfectly fine with everything that we've done in the gray, but you will require a variance if you do want to overframe on the outside.
And you asked for comments. I go back to, I've sat on several of these. I go back to sort of and I know the bylaws are what they are, but the only reason we're here is because there's a fiction that deems the basement to be a floor. Most houses have basements, and they're not considered a story, right? You can build a two-story building as long as your first floor is less than 4 feet above medium grade. And I look at this as, except for the topography of this property, we wouldn't be here. Because this space here wouldn't be considered a story. We would be talking about a two or 2.5 story. We're here because this is the bottom here, the basement, which ordinarily is not considered a story for any other property. Not any other, but properties that are on level. And I appreciate you haven't gone through all this. I think there were a couple of violations here. There was the height limitation. You've brought it within that. I'm wondering if we're not in a very technical violation here, that it doesn't increase the sort of visibility of the building. In other words, it's not making it any more imposing, I don't think. Others may disagree. The height is within the 35 limit. I mean, this is close. I mean, if we were to apply the technical standards for granting a variance, we wouldn't grant variances to about 80% of the cases that come before this board. And I wonder if, given that it has something to do with the particular topography of this property, I'm inclined to say, this is a technical violation. No one opposes it. The applicant has tried to bring this within, to make appropriate, take corrective steps to bring it within. I'm here to witness.
Have you shown these new plans to your neighbors?
I have 3 here this time.
Okay.
And it was on very, very short notice, so.
Okay. And I'm
They
hoping
can do
that
letters,
they're,
huh?
I'm hoping that they perhaps are from the neighbors most affected and abutters.
One on my right, one directly across John Davis. You probably might know John Davis. He's involved for a while, and then diagonally across again. So it's really the neighbors who are actually looking at the front of the house.
Yep. Let me just get the list of abutters.
The stair, well, she's looking, the stairs directly behind the front door here, is that where that dormer would go? Like a little to the light of the...
Yeah, the staircase. Once you open that door, you're at the landing of the
Well,
staircase.
the dormer, this structure here,
It's going straight
Straight up above the door.
Correct.
oh, okay. And then the two, what do you call them? I guess they're dormers,
So
so...
I would, Tick and Gables dormers is kind of,
So these two, in this, right here is the front
yeah.
door.
So,
Yeah.
except for in that case now, we don't have the higher elevations on the side of those gables, and the windows within the actual gables are now gone.
This is the old
That's the old correct.
rendering here, yeah. But it's-
Right, so
That was
this,
the one that had us up at 37.
right, there'll be no windows on the side dormers, right?
No.
Just in,
Okay, 15 Woodside Drive and 11 Woodside Drive, the Hanleys and the Davises are across from you.
Yep. Diana's is on my right. Well, I guess, if you're looking at my house, she's on the right.
She's on the right.
Diana
And-
Waleed.
And she has said,
All the neighbors are
and the
fine. I wish I could.
Alice Nguyen and Tran.
Twan is back behind me. Yeah, he's back. He's back on Hallen. He's right on the corner of Hallen
He's
and
on
Marshall.
Hallen,
He's
yes.
back behind me, so he actually wouldn't even be affected by, I guess technically, he would, he will, the only way he could actually see these is to come down my street.
Okay.
So it's technically, it's just the,
this structure would be on this side, right? The addition? I'm trying to position it.
Right side, yeah.
There we
yeah,
are.
On the right.
yes,
Yeah.
you can see the temporary roof that I have built right now,
Right,
coming
right,
off the
right.
addition onto the existing roof.
I see it.
That's the problem we have with the roof right now, it's leaking. There's actually 3 layers on the roof, and it's a 2x6 rafter. So you can't really see it in the photographs, but the roof it needs to be rebuilt.
That shows the addition. Yeah, thanks. Yep.
Could be helpful as well. Well done.
Yeah, I was watching that, I was like,
Yeah, it kind of gives me a better sense of it.
yeah, it's
Comparatively
probably,
speaking, is the roof on the addition, it will actually sit higher than the house, right? Because there's the grade upward towards the addition? Am I imagining that right? Or
I
downward?
mean, this
the
left side
the
is-
addition right now is higher than the existing
Right,
roof.
the roof line would be...
Yes.
Okay, that's
Now,
what I
the,
thought, which is already
just-
built.
Yeah, which is, because the addition is only a garage with a room above it. So there were no, we weren't talking about 2.5 stories on that one. Essentially, I was actually allowed to go 8 feet higher on the addition.
Right, and had you put a basement there, we'd have the same issue.
Exactly.
And that's how I view this bylaws, and I've historically viewed it. It's, if you build on a sloped property, you're deemed to have a story for purposes of this bylaw, whether or not it's simply a basement. So, I mean, I guess, to answer your question, that's my view. I think a few things. I think this is being done to align it with an already built structure, which I think everybody would agree. The neighbors included, it's for everybody's benefit, you know, incongruity. I think there's particular issues here with the topography. Thank you for taking steps to minimize the amount of violation. They bring in the height limit to 35 feet. I'm inclined to think of this as a technical violation that with the neighbors, especially the most affected ones, not being in opposition, I'd be inclined to vote for this, in favor of the application. That's my view.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, you made some good concessions. I think my sense is when you came in last time, the plan that you brought wasn't even, it was more than what
And I
you
knew
really
it was
wanted.
over, like
Yeah.
as I was saying, I said, like, you know, let it sit the way it is and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Which I
We don't
didn't-
encourage
which I
that. We don't want
didn't
people to
need.
shoot for the stars and
Which I
settle for the
didn't
moon.
need, of course, like, that's why.
We don't encourage.
No, I think you may have been given some, maybe some bad advice.
Yeah.
But, right, you know, this 5A1 here, it's this sort of aesthetic bylaw that catches people with these, you know, topographical lots that cause these problems. But, and we can see by the photographs, which, you know, I kind of noticed was, you've done some beautiful work already.
Thank you.
And I think this is only going to add to it because you're dealing with you know, a difficult problem, as we've talked about. So you've really done your homework in terms of the new design. The neighbors are on board. And as Manny said, I think you're technical at this point, so I would tend to vote in favor, I think.
Well, I agree with my colleagues. I really appreciate the fact that you've brought the square footage down, so we can, you know, look at a less massive building, but are sensitive to the fact that you are built on a slope that kind of gets you between the eyes. So shall we take a vote? All in favor of the application as amended according to these plans in front of us dated May 19th, 2016, say aye.
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 One thing before we finalize it, it would have to be built in conformity to these plans. So
Oh, correct.
everything is tied to what you've presented.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Just-
So you know that we need to have this written up, and it has a 20-day appeal period, even though nobody's here to protest it, somebody still could come and do that.
Right.
So it takes us, oh gosh, I'm going to have to do it quickly, I guess.
Oh, you're on vacation.
Yeah. So I will try and pump this out just as quickly as possible, which I'm sure will make you
I
happy.
appreciate it.
And then we need to circulate it, have it signed, and then Susan Galvin will, or
Diane
will-
Colligan.
Diane Colligan. I don't think Mary will be back by then. She will have that filed with Susan Galvin. There'll be a notice going out to abutters, neighbors, and so forth. They have that 20-day appeal period, and then you can pull the permit after that.
You submitted this for keeping, for the record, the photos?
You can keep those, yeah?
That would be great, yeah. Okay, well, congratulations, and
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for doing all this.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care.
Congrats.
I'm gonna turn this off.